Welcome to the exciting rebirth of Superstar, featuring choose your membership rate as low as just $3 a month. At Superstar, you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes, class passes for Synchronicity University, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. Hello, fabulous superstar Taurus. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of December 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological month, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. On the 8th of the month, we will have this month's full moon. Now, this full moon takes place in a part of the sky for you that has to do with money you earn, money you spend, along with self-esteem and self-worth. What I find fascinating, the key characteristic of this full moon at this time, is that it is hand in hand with precision with a retrograde Mars. It is going to bring emotional awareness and truth around what the larger lessons of the Mars retrograde season that we're all in are meant to be uniquely for you. And so, if you think back, it was in September that Mars went into shadow, and it was just in time for Halloween that Mars went retrograde. Mars is retrograde now and will continue to be until we get to the middle of January. That's when Mars will go direct. I did speak about this at length in the Mars retrograde special horoscope, and I will link to that below. And of course, I'll be here to talk about it every step of the way as well. But I mentioned this because this is one of those moments where I actually think this is perhaps the most important peak moment of the larger Mars retrograde season because of how it brings emotional understanding and emotional awareness into the mix. This is your understanding of prosperity and abundance, redefined, seen differently in some light of emotion. It's a chance to get really honest with yourself, to find your unique truth as to how you define prosperity and what's worth doing for money and what isn't worth doing for money as well. It is some learning, some lesson, or some practical development that seems like it comes to fruition now. It comes to a culmination, if you will. And as you look at the truth of a situation, of how you feel, of what you really want, change becomes that much more likely. Now, there are other important alignments that this full moon is making. On the one hand, it is speaking in supreme harmony with Saturn. I love this energy for you, I have to say. This is energy of long-term blessings. It's a sense that what developments are taking place now are part of aligning you with a more stable financial future. And it is this energy as well that is about aligning with success as you define it and having that be part of how prosperity shows up in your life. However, we've also got a connection with Neptune as well. That's where it gets a little tricky because that difficult alignment with Neptune does suggest that there may be a need to be adaptable. There may be some sense of disappointment as well. And I'm so sorry to say, but it does happen. This could be disillusioning as well. Regardless, though, ultimately, the choices you make are strong and they are responsible and they fuel healthy self-respect in the process. You are coming to understand what prosperity is to you differently. What you learn now will stay with you for a very long time to come, thanks to that Mars retrograde. This moment now is likely going to be one of the highlights of these larger lessons that you are engaged in, defining prosperity in your own terms. As we navigate further, it is going to be the 23rd of the month that we will have this month's new moon. Now, this new moon happens in fellow Earth sign Capricorn. And part of what makes it distinct is that, a new moon always represents new beginnings, fresh possibilities. But this new moon is happening at the very beginning of this part of the sky for you. And what that suggests is that sense of newness becomes that much more magnified now. And this part of the sky speaks to your relationship with the world. It has to do with long distance travel, immigration, citizenship, higher learning. It has to do with legal matters as well. It has to do with the political, philosophical, and spiritual beliefs that guide your life. A new moon like this is going to give you new opportunities and new perspectives as well, new insights and new, more personal impetuses also. And so it could be now that it feels as if you feel called to or motivated to understand what higher education or continuing to pursue higher education could mean to you. It may be now that you feel called to plan or take a trip, that you feel somewhere new calling you, for example. Also possible with this is that if you have considered a particular legal matter, this is where you may find renewed interest in that. And of course, more personally, this could be new ways of understanding the world around you and your relationship to it. The thing to know, though, is that less than a week later, Mercury is going to go retrograde in this part of the sky. And that's the energy we are carrying into a brand new year, a brand new, newly retrograde Mercury energy. And what that suggests is just when you think you've found that new chapter, that new beginning, that new understanding, here comes a chance to reflect more deeply, to reach a depth of honesty within yourself as to your motivations and what it is that you're really understanding and what it is that you're really wanting. It is wonderful to feel intrigued by a new way of understanding the world. Perhaps, for example, like a new spiritual tradition feels like it wakes something up within you. It's another thing to understand the nuances and the societal and social ways in which that particular tradition may be utilized, may be experienced by people who ultimately are more inside, who grow up in that tradition. For example, it's one thing to look at a faraway place and see it for all its beauty and majesty and think about how it calls you. It's another thing to actually see how local people experience it. And so this is your chance now as Mercury goes retrograde in this part of the sky, and this energy that you'll carry into a new year is going to help you to reach that deeper layer of honesty, but also to find out those nuances and find beauty within them, even for their imperfections. Now, where it comes to matters of love, under the light of that new moon that happens on the 23rd, the day before, we have this really beautiful energy. Now, keep in mind, it is about 10 days into the month that Venus will move into fellow Earth sign Capricorn. And as Venus moves into fellow Earth sign Capricorn, is going to, on the 22nd, reach out in supreme harmony with Uranus. I think this is a remarkable energy, especially for you, given that Uranus is in your sign. Romantic surprises will abound and they can delight as well. Now, also keep in mind that, think back to last year, right? We ended last year with Venus hanging out with Pluto in the sky. And the same thing is going to happen this year as well. Venus is hanging out with Pluto in the sky. And I find this so intriguing because in many ways, it's going to feel as if a lot of us are understanding the events of late last year differently. But of course, we are different, right? We're not the same as we used to be. And so here we have a few truly remarkable moments. Just the fact that Venus is in an Earth sign means that you're able to work with that energy that much more easily. There is that surprise, freeing energy, but then also a real depth of feeling finding you. So for those of you open to meeting someone new, I do think as we lead up to that new moon, you've got some very powerful energy here for making a very surprise connection with someone very different than you've known before. Perhaps they have a very different worldview, different religious view, different political view, or it could be something more superficial, like a different ethnic background, for example. Regardless, though, there's something that represents newness and freedom to you in the interaction. Now, how you really feel about the differences, those are likely to show up for you in more powerful ways as we navigate towards the end of the month. For those of you just starting to date somebody, what a remarkable time this can be in the context of dating. I do love that energy of Venus and Uranus. It does suggest that there's a lot of fun and lightness and adventure and exploration in a way that I think you will love. However, where there are differences or where you didn't know there were, this is a chance to get honest with yourself as to whether or not those differences are a deal breaker for you. And for those of you in an established bond, well, I think a lot of this energy, given where Venus is going to be moving through the last 3 weeks of the month and into next year as well, it's about optimism and adventure and sort of enjoying new experiences together. That can be really beautiful and very hopeful. The energy and the lead up to that new moon right around the 22nd, well, it is so delightful. It feels as if very quickly you're feeling that much more connected with this person that you love. However, where it is that there might have been a difference of opinion, that should start to show up as we move towards the last days of the month and even into a brand new year as well. Whatever takes place as we navigate towards the end of the month is going to in some way hearken to what was happening last year in December as well. If there were things that needed to be worked out, well, chances are you'll continue to work on them now. If it was that at that time a new understanding was found with you and your partner, this is where you get to affirm those things that have changed for the better. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It is a valuable and meaningful astrological moment. I am going to say, I do love that full moon. I know it's going to be really intense for a lot of people out there. That includes you as well. But that intensity ultimately is going to be transformed to a true understanding as to what meaningful self-love, self-esteem, and your definition of prosperity, what does that mean for you? What does it feel like? How does it show up in your life? Well, you're about to find out, viscerally so, coming to an understanding of what it means to embody these qualities and live them more fully. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Membership rate. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. I look forward to meeting you there. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.